Today, the SEC filed a lawsuit against a cryptocurrency exchange called Beaxy, which you've probably never heard of because it is really small. Like, really small. They've been operating since June 2019, so about 1370 days, which is about 32,880 hours, for about 1.9 million minutes that this exchange has been active. During that time, the SEC alleges they've processed about 1 million transactions, which means Beaxy does about one transaction every 2 minutes. This is an extraordinarily small exchange. You don't even really need a matching engine, you just need Steve. And what does Steve do? Steve updates the Excel sheet to figure out who gets what, because that is an absurdly low trade volume. So why am I even bothering to talk about this exchange that no one even bothers to use? Because the allegations described in this lawsuit potentially represent a threat to a ton of other cryptocurrency exchanges, especially in the United States. So, without further ado, let's dive into the specific allegations. In May of 2018, the founder of Beaxy, Artek Hamazaspayan, began conducting a sale of BXY token, eventually raising approximately $8 million. BXY token was used to fundraise to help pay for the build-out of the Beaxy exchange, and users would receive a discount on their fees and get to share in a proportion of the revenue of the exchange. BXY token is very similar to basically every other exchange token, Leo, BNB, whatever. They sold this token to about 200 different investors, including unaccredited investors in the United States, and the SEC alleges that this token is an unregistered security. That's the first reason this suit is important. If BXY is a security, then it certainly seems to me that many other crypto exchange tokens will also be securities. This means exchanges that have created and especially sold these tokens to investors in the United States can get in trouble for creating them, but also places that allow you to trade these exchange tokens can get in trouble for listing unregistered securities. In October 2019, after the exchange had been operational for about 4 months, two of the executives, Nicholas Murphy and Randolph Bay Abbott, discovered that Artek had stolen about 900,000 of the funds they had raised from the token and was using it for his own purposes, including gambling. They decided to force him out of Beaxy. He was able to repay approximately 420,000 of the misappropriated funds, and they continued operating it. Besides alleging that Beaxy issued and sold this unregistered security, the SEC also alleges that Beaxy was an unregistered securities exchange, specifically that they listed at least 2 securities in BXY token and Dragon token, DRGN, the token for Dragon Chain. Beaxy, obviously, was not SEC registered, and so offering custody and trading of these assets was in violation of SEC regulations on securities exchanges. One of my favorite points in this lawsuit is when the SEC is laying out this case, they talk about when Beaxy decided to delist Dragon because there was not enough volume. This led to Dragon Chain Incorporated, the company that issued the token, to reach out to Beaxy and apply to be relisted. As part of Dragon Chain's application to get Dragon relisted, they included a memo that said that Dragon would not be considered a security as long as Dragon Chain Inc. did not try to create secondary markets for it. This is hilarious because this memo was included on an application where Dragon Chain was trying to create a secondary market for it. They're basically admitting they knew it might be a security. Whoops. Regardless, Beaxy allowed it to be relisted, but told Dragon Chain they were going to need a market maker to increase the liquidity and recommended they use their affiliated firm for this service. So Dragon Chain started paying this affiliated market maker, and then they were back on Beaxy. So just to reiterate, why is this lawsuit against a completely unimportant exchange really important? Because the core of the behavior here, enabling trading in cryptocurrencies which may be unregistered securities, is essentially an activity that every single cryptocurrency exchange is engaged in. The SEC could potentially bring very similar lawsuits against nearly any cryptocurrency exchange. Even somewhat more legitimate exchanges like Coinbase still list other exchange tokens like LCX. And so this lawsuit against one of the smallest exchanges I have ever seen could potentially signal the SEC's intention to start pursuing all cryptocurrency exchanges and requiring that they register as security exchanges and delist any token that the SEC considers an unregistered security.